All right. Indy Sports Nation on Friday here in the great city of Indianapolis. It is a beautiful Friday here, man. I tell you, I love it. But anyway, welcome in Indy Sports Nation, the IU Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Happy Blue Friday once again. I had to break this out one more time, and don't worry for those of you who joined me last week. I did dry clean this, so just wanted to make you aware. Don't out there. Hey, you downside a pretty solid game last week. We'll definitely we'll get into that for sure. Man, hope you've had a great week. Hope your week has been as good as mine. You know what? Heck with that. I hope yours has been better. A lot of news out of Indy this week and the state of Indiana for that matter. So we have a lot to get into. I mentioned last week, and thank you again for those of you who joined me last week. Really, really appreciate that. But I mentioned IndyCar last week. There was a story that broke right before the show started, and I wasn't real sure about the source. It's a little, it was not that they're bad. Just some are a little better than others, I think. So it kind of worked out because, quite frankly, I ran out of time in the show anyway. But I definitely want to touch on the IndyCar of the season, the news that came out, and we'll put a bow on that and move on. But there's also breaking news today from the Fever. So we'll touch on that. Not a lot of news there, but some news that's worth sharing. So we will definitely talk about that. Pulled off a solid win at home against Pittsburgh last week. We got a lot to talk about there, and then we get to face the Jags in Jacksonville this week, and we will discuss the curse that is the curse. I tell you what, it's been a great week, and until I got that pulse report, injury report today, and now my day's a little bit bummed going into the in Jacksonville where we just do not have any luck. Hopefully we can get that turned around this week on Sunday rather. We'll definitely talk more about that. We will talk about the one blemish this week. Thank you for that, Purdue. That was awesome. We'll talk some Boilers. There was some news that came out of West Lafayette today. Well, or not today, but earlier in the week. That's worth addressing. We'll get into that. I'm just hanging there, Purdue fans. But I do have a bright spot to share about Purdue. I'll touch on that as well. I'm going to touch on the Irish, who really that was a much needed win for them, I think. And I got to be honest with you, I didn't love how they won. That game should have been totally different. I mean, the outcomes would have been the same, obviously. I mean, they won the game, right? But I don't know. I'll share why. I just didn't love it. But hey, you take the win against a ranked opponent at home. You needed to beat them. You did. So we'll touch on more on that as well. But obviously, the big one. I can't believe I'm saying this. Holy cow. We're definitely going to spend some time talking about your 5-0 first place in the Big Ten, Indiana football Hoosiers. Yeah, football. You say IU in the first place in the Big Ten? Oh, oops, soccer, baseball, anything but football, right? No, not this year, baby. Not this year. They've got a play at Northwestern on Saturday. We'll talk about that game. I know I've talked to a few IU fans already, and they're a little nervous, but I'm gonna calm you down. You're gonna be all right. That exciting times for IU football, and just really happy for them, their students, the program. It's they haven't had this since it was 1967. 1967 since they last started 5-0. I'm gonna guess some of you listening in probably was not alive. And if anybody can tell me the last time before 67, actually, you know what? If you're listening, or hit me up on the socials, hit the comments. Tell me the last time that IU. Don't Google it. Don't Google it. Seriously, have fun with it. It's not like I'm giving away a prize or anything. That's my second episode. It's not like I'm giving away Billy Joel and Sting tickets to Lucas Oil in February. Let's take a shot at it. It's pretty funny. But anyway, well, moving on here. Just want to thank everybody again for tuning in last week, tuning in the replays. Really appreciate that. Again, another shout out to the great folks at IU Sports Radio for bringing me on. This is it's been a lot of fun. Still getting the sea legs a little bit, but it's a blast. It's going to continue to be a blast. So obviously you can follow us on X, Twitter, with whichever you're calling it. I'm still going Twitter. I guess I'm old. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, at IU Sports Radio. And man, we're available everywhere. I mean, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, you name it. We got you covered. We're coast to coast, man. You got just what a job these guys and gals have built here. So it's amazing. YouTube, IU Sports Radio, and iusportsradio.com. That's where you can go on, check the site out, meet some of the other hosts. Again, we got great hosts. Get everywhere. So pretty much see the shiny sea. I think we're only missing a few right now, but we brought some new people on, and this thing's growing fast, and we're having a great time doing it, man. You'll be able to find me on there soon. I'm not on there just yet. Mind you, this is only episode 2, so hang in there some time on that. Get on the hey, check out some swag, man. As I mentioned last week, Christmas is going to be here before we know it. So get on there, get some stocking stuffers, buy some swag. It's cool swag too. I need to get mine actually. If you'd be so kind out there, give me a good follow in the old X Twitter, if you will, at IndySports_IESR. If you'll follow button, we're going to try to get a little more interactive with y'all on that one. You can also follow me at the Chill Mike personal account on X Twitter. So maybe hit the old follow button if you wouldn't mind. Appreciate that. As I mentioned, a lot to get to, but we got some amazing sponsors we got to show some love to. Planet Jerky and Seal the Deal Wax Seals. I'm told I'm missing out on the jerky. I got to get that going there. So again, thoroughly so, but I plan on getting that ordered because from what I hear, it is the best around. So on that note, we're going to pay some bills. We're going to come back. We're going to dive right into all the great material here. Big Mike here on another beautiful Friday here in Indy. Indy Sports Nation, IU Sports Radio. Your direct feed for all that is sports.
IE Sports Radio fans, this show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, single-A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all-brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then Seal Seal the Deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Thank you once again for joining me. As I'm here every Friday, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Still waiting to get the right answer on the comments from the last time IU won or started off 5-0 prior to 1967. So, like I said, comment, hit me up on the socials. Just have a little fun with it, all right? Want to get a little bit of breaking news. It broke earlier today, regarding the Indiana Fever. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it. But Amber Cox has been named the Chief Operating Officer and General Manager. And at first, that news kind of ran across my phone. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. What happened to Lynn Dunn there? Did we really do that? And we did not. She's actually going to stay on as a senior advisor, which I think is a good thing. She's been around the sport for a long time, and although I don't know if this may be a role for her to kind of hang in it for a few years and ride to the sunset or not, but she's been part of this draft class this past few years, so I think it's great that she's still advising. So just wanted to share a little bit tidbit with you, and also I'm sure most of you have seen already. Caitlin Clark was officially named WNBA Rookie of the Year. Duh. And I'm sure a lot of you have seen there was the one vote that she did not get. And I saw the rhetoric online and some of these guys coming out and torches and pitchforks. Who's the one? Who's the one? Relax. We need to chill sometimes, man. We really do. It's happened before. I mean, you go down in history of other sports, it's happened. I mean, it is what it is. She won it. She deserved it. So congrats to her. And we will continue to update you on what happens on anything Fever related in the off season. So just wanted to kind of bring that to your attention. Now, moving on, we are going to talk a little IndyCar. And the news that broke was Michael Andretti, and I think even if you don't follow racing, a lot of you probably know that name. So kind of stepping down from the day-to-day at Andretti Global, and that was a bit of a bombshell. So what I was going to do here is kind of read the statement. They're still keeping their cards pretty close to their chest. I'll just read the statement and go from there. But basically, the statement is Michael's goal has been to transition to a more strategic role within Andretti Global and focus less on the operational side of the race team. Michael and Dan Tauris have been working closely developing this new structure, on which Michael is excited to see take shape under Dan's guidance. Michael remains engaged and will continue to serve as a strategic advisor and key ambassador. So that was some news. There was speculation, of course, as you can imagine. I mean, Michael's been around the sport for, I think since he came out of the womb. And just because of the success of his dad, Mario, is, I think, one of the best to ever do it. But he's 62 years old. He's got grandkids now. He's been doing this his whole life. The other interview I read with him, he kind of alluded to that, but wouldn't say a whole lot more. There's been some scuttlebutt between him and Penske, which nothing new. So I'm sure there's going to be some people with their own stories on that, but more stuff's going to come out, and we'll keep you updated on that. But it does lead me into the wrap of the IndyCar season, which, again, we didn't get a chance to touch on that last week. I want to touch on it real quick. So actually worked out for a nice segue for Andretti there, because it was his driver, Colton Herta, who got the win in Nashville a few weeks ago. But kind of want to set the scene up real quick for you. If you don't follow IndyCar that closely, I encourage you to. It's in my opinion, it's some of the best racing out there. They're doing street courses, road courses, ovals, you name it. But going into the final race this season, they don't have a playoff or anything like that. So this last race was setting up as almost like a game 7, so to speak. But Alex Palou was the leader. Will Power had a strong end of the season. He got himself back to contention. So starting to go to the race was about 35-point differential, which isn't a ton. It's not a ton. Not saying it's easy to make up, but it's doable. So we start the race. And let me backtrack a second. So Will Power qualifies 4th. Palou is near the back of the pack. So right there, Power's got a huge advantage. So race starts, and NBC Peacock did a good job of having that little window there at the bottom of the screen, points as they run, kept it up each lap, right? I believe Power might have got to 3rd. So the points I'm using here may be off by a few points, give or take here, but he got to 9 points, within 9 points. And I'm sitting on the edge of my seat. I'm like, holy cow, we've got a race. Like, this could happen. This could actually happen. I mean, Palou had been kind of leading forever, right? So, or a good chunk of the season, rather. And all of a sudden, we're not far to this race, and I look up, and there's a camera showing Will Power slowing down, and I'm like, oh, you've got to be kidding me! Like, no way. Like, in my mind, I'm going, what? Tire? Did I miss a tire? Is it a gearbox? Is it something with the engine? What's none of that? His seatbelt broke. Yep. That's a new one. It's a new one for him too, I think. It's a new one for a lot of people. But his seatbelt, and it's just kind of like, what? I mean, all the amazing technology and the time spent to build these cars, it's ridiculous. And it's the seatbelt. So anyway, he has to pit. Seatbelt is not like fixing a seatbelt. It's not like you're putting on it's not like a quick tire change or anything like that. Nashville's a shorter track. He is 4 laps down, just like that. And there goes his chance of winning. Palou just basically has to finish his race at this point, right? And whatever. And he does, of course. That's what he does. He's just Mr. Consistent. There's the race. And there you go. Alex Palou is your 3-time IndyCar Series champ, back-to-back. So 3 of the last 4 years he has won it. And he is 27 years old. Oh, see how long he sticks in this series. Hope he sticks around for a bit longer. Could go down as one of the greats to ever do it. I was funny. I was talking to a colleague of mine who's trying to get into IndyCar, right? And he's like, well, 3 out of 4? Sounds like he might be like the Kansas City Chiefs of IndyCar. Like, no, I wouldn't go there. I wouldn't go to quite that point. I mean, you don't go online and see Palou swapping, race, suits, driving suits with IndyCar officials. Sorry, bad joke. Sorry, KC fans. He's just having fun, just having a little fun. So, but as I mentioned, that'll be last week. We talk IndyCar for a bit. They start back up again March 2nd, I believe it is, and St. Pete. So we'll probably do a some sort of preview as we get closer to then. But kind of wanted to touch on that Andretti news. It's big news. We'll see. We'll keep track of that, follow that along, see what happens. And like I said, we'll come back to IndyCar. If there's anything major, I'll share it with you, obviously. But in the meantime, we'll probably put that on hold. Just kind of start focusing on some other sports here. So, with that being said, there is a lot of Colts talk I want to get to. So on that note, I think we'll just go ahead and take a quick break here, get some things together on the backside, and give some love to our other great hosts on this platform. So take a quick break. We'll be right back. We'll talk Colts, Indy Sports Nation, IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We will be right back.
What's up, New York? This is Ricky K coming at you with the NY State of Sports, a new show here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Listen to me every Thursday afternoon as we bring you the latest takes on the Yankees, Mets, Jets, Giants, Knicks, Nets, Rangers, Devils, and Islanders. Plus, you get some college hoops and what's the local sports events going on in the area. It's a state that never sleeps, so why not get the opinions and sports takes that never sleep? Again, every Thursday, 2 p.m. to the NY State of Sports. We'll see you then.
Hey sports fans, do you like wine? Well, we've got the show for you. This is Let's Wine About Sports, a show where we talk about wine and sports simultaneously. From the classic Cabernet Sauvignon all the way down to the grapes that you've never even heard of before. Oh yeah, we cover it all. And we'll talk about a little bit of sports as well. Football, hockey, collegiate, women's sports, it doesn't matter. We're going to talk about it all, and we're going to whine about it all. So join me Monday at 8 p.m. on IU Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Welcome back. Big Mike here. Indy Sports Nation, IE Sports Radio, direct feed for all that is sports. Hopefully you're off work by now, folks on the East Coast, rather, Midwest. Hopefully you've got a great week, got a good beverage in hand, responsibly, of course. Able to hang out with me for a little bit. Appreciate y'all. All right, let's get to the Colts, man. What a game. What a game. Kind of a tale of two halves, to be honest with you. Man, but I love how they came out. Well, first and foremost, talking about coming out real quick. I don't know if y'all saw this online or from maybe the ones who were there, but if you're there at the game, they got the video with Edger and James, right? And, you know, the enemy is here. They in your house now. You'll let them hear you. I do love that. But, of course, Pittsburgh fans travel great. As we all know, they're everywhere. And so I would say it's a good 50-50 mix there at Lucas. You know, maybe can move those numbers a little bit one way or another. But for me, I would say it's about what it was. But now they do this, several minutes before kickoff. And us Colts fans usually we fill in right at kickoff, right? So that's Colts fans. We're not all the way there yet. Anyway, they flash the camera and you see the Steelers, and you always see the other team get amped, whatever, which, of course, right? It's kind of a given. Well, Najee Harris decided to give the stadium the good old one finger salute, which I just laughed at, honestly. I was like, does he realize like over half these fans right in the stadium right now are rooting for him? I just kind of found it funny, and some of you may have seen afterwards that Zaire Franklin took to social media calling him soft, and you know what? I get it. I would have probably said something similar too, especially after a win. Like, y'all come in giving us the one finger salute. All right, fine. But I didn't think anything I saw was funny. But anyway, I just had to bring that up. But no, the way that game started, man, that first throw Anthony Richardson threw, I was like, okay, that's what they see. That's what they see in this kid. That was a big boy throw, and that was a big boy catch by Pittman too. He thread that needle in coverage. It was just beautiful. And I was like, oh, if he's going to be able to do that, we're going to be onto something here, because then Pittsburgh's going to, Pittsburgh defense is going to have to respect him, and then that gives JT some openings and whatnot. But man, that was just that first drive was great. Of course, we all saw what happened with Richardson in the hip. He came back in and tried to give it a go. I was at that point. Mind you, I'm at the game, so there's certain things when you're at the game you don't get to see. You'll see maybe watching at home, right? I'm screaming my head off. I'm like, what are we doing? He's back in. He's running another read option. I'm like, now what? Why? It was just a call. He thought he could handle it, and then he went down funny because his hip was still sore, and you can't really push off and get that burst of speed. And then he goes down, and that's his day. Looked like he took a shot to the head, though. They didn't call, but it's neither here nor there. I will get to the officiating here in a second. But Flacco comes in and finishes that drive, and I just loved how the Colts came out, and it shocked me. It did in a good way, in a real good way. And then a defense comes out and they get a quick stop, and I know people are like, it's Fields. I'm telling you, man, Fields is better. He's better. He's in a better spot now, and we'll see what happens with him going the rest of the season. And we get that stop. Of course, there was that roughing call that I didn't like it. I had a lot of Steelers fans in my section, and by the way, shout out to the Steelers fans. The ones around me, at least, were fantastic. And one that was maybe a little bit, but that's splitting hairs, but they were awesome. So it was a lot of fun for good, friendly banter, but also respectable. So it was very, very cool. But no, they threw a flag on that. And I saw that replay. I'm like, I'm seeing his head go down slightly. It's almost like your forehead, though. Not like the crown. It's not like it hits his chest, it does his neck, whatever. I mean, we know how the league is with this rule, and they're going to protect the quarterbacks at all costs. I get it. Yet, it didn't matter. Colson didn't get the ball back. Go now, score again. But at the same time, you got 17-0. I'm like, okay, this is great. This is great. But I could start to feel from an offensive standpoint that it's like, I just don't know they're going to score some more points. Of course, Pittsburgh gets at the half, and they get the field goal and the ball. So I looked over and told my buddy then, I was like, I think the Colts are going to have to score 10 points in the second half to win this. It just kind of felt Pittsburgh was seeing some things. They're going to make some adjustments. There's too much talent and a good coach there. They're not going to do that. Meanwhile, Flacco in the game, Flacco did fine. Your playbook changes a bit. Those read options aren't going to be there. You're not going to be, Flacco's not a runner, obviously. So, and that's kind of what happened. I mean, we did have a drive there, and I'll get into that because I know the league came out, the Fitzpatrick hit on Mitchell, and I was screaming. Again, sometimes I'm on the other side of the stadium from where that play was. So from my side, it looked like he just absolutely blasted him in the neck. And so he threw the flag, and I saw the replay, and I got home, and I'm like, okay, we probably got one there. But as Colts fans, how often does that happen? How often does that happen? And I know that we got the touchdown, which is great. And that was a big key in that game, too, because we were finally extending the time of possession. We're converting on third down, which is something we've struggled with, quite frankly. I mean, if you've seen those first two games, we barely ever had the ball. We're having the ball 20 minutes, getting 2-1 on time of possession. So this game, I think Pittsburgh had it 2 minutes longer. So that was a real good thing there for the Colts. Like I said, Flacco did his job well. The defense did well. even with all the injuries, and we'll get into injuries here again in a minute because this is just getting ridiculous. The other thing I was going to touch on too, and I know people, Pittsburgh got the ball at the end, and those of us with a heart condition, wasn't fun for us. But 27-24, of course, the bad snap, and kind of worked out in our favor. Colts get the W, but we all know that should have been 30-24. That should have been us forcing the Steelers to get a touchdown. That's been a problem for the Colts. Matt Gay is, I don't know, man. Colts released a practice squad kicker this week. They seem to have full confidence in him. I'm just saying this: you got to make those, man. He's got to make them, and he's been missing them a lot. The league average for over 50-yard field goals is 75%, I believe. He's like 40. He's not even close. You don't get paid that much money to miss kicks. Now, I mean, like I always loved. I love Tony Dungy, big fan of his, and he always said one's a coincidence. One, okay. Second time, it's coincidence. Third time, it's a trend. And this is a trend. I think what will happen, and I'm worried about this is one thing I'm worried about this weekend. I do think he's eventually going to get one. I think that's all it's going to take for him. Maybe I'm being a little naive and a little too optimistic. I don't know. But he's proven he's done this before. I mean, it's why the Colts brought him here. I mean, last year at Baltimore, hit 4 of them, over 50. But this team is not going to be a team where you're going to probably blow out a lot of teams. I mean, you might get one here or there, maybe if you're lucky, but most of these games are going to be close. And you got to make those kicks. And I just could have imagined a scenario where Pittsburgh was able to get it down and get a last game time field goal to send it to overtime. I just could have imagined Colts fans, and they've just been losing their mind. So, but a great win, no doubt about it. We'll take anytime you can take a good Pittsburgh team, and even if it's at home, you can get a win over a good team like that, you take it. So on that note, let's move to this weekend. That is the curse. Oh, the curse that is playing in Jacksonville. Colts fans, you know this. Other ones who are listening in, again, I appreciate you listening or watching. The last 9 times we went to Jacksonville, we have lost 9 times. Yeah, the past few years, we've seen Jacksonville improve. And they're struggling this year, but I don't think they're 0-4 bad. I really don't. I believe 3 of their losses have been 5 points or less. But here we go. Going down to Jacksonville, you're thinking initially like maybe this is it. We can do this. We can do this. And then here we go with the injury report. Jonathan Taylor out. Ryan Kelly, game time decision. But I know Bortolini, backtracking to the Pittsburgh game, who replaced Kelly, I thought did a fine job. And speaking of that, last shutout I forgot to mention was Braden Smith. TJ Watt was nowhere to be found. 2 tackles for TJ Watt, so give Braden his love. But anyway, so Kelly is a maybe. AR is game time decision, sounds like. I wouldn't be surprised if he's out. We'll find out. But even more than that, I think for me, I'm more concerned on the defensive side. Quiddy Pay out again. Kenny Moore out again. Forrest Buckner still on IR. Tyquan Lewis, IR. Juju Brents, I mentioned last week, IR. There's 5 starters that were out. Now, granted, some of the guys stepped up this past week. Lamons, Womack, they stepped up great. They're going to have to do it again. EJ had a great game too last week, 13 solo tackles, I believe. So we got to, they're going to have to do that again. But so a little concerning. But hey, it's next man up, right? So we have to put another performance like last week, and I think in order to have a chance. But I wanted to share a stat with everybody regarding this 0-9 joke. That is Jacksonville. 7 different starting quarterbacks. Just want some stability. That's it. That's it. I think we have it now, but still. Anyway, so we've had Gardner Minshew, Matt Ryan, Indy's favorite, Carson Wentz, Uncle Philip Rivers, Jacoby Brissett, Luck, and Hasselbeck. 4 coaches. Obviously, Steichen now. The beautiful experience that was the Jeff Saturday experience. We all know. Don't even get me started. Frank Reich and Chuck Pagano. 2 GMs. Ryan Grigson, barf. I actually legitimately throw up here in a minute, so if you not really, but some of y'all might be just me saying that name. Although we have people here who thinks he should still be here, which blows my mind. And of course, our beloved GM now, Chris Bargain Bin Ballard. So I just wanted to share it with you, and it kind of just shows you how the state of things have been in the past decade. I'm just hoping we can really flip that around this weekend. The weather does not look ideal. Looks like a lot of rain coming in there this weekend. I did see it's about down to 40-50% chance at kickoff. I think the keys again, we're going to get some turnovers. It worked last week. You win that turnover battle, put yourself in, give yourself a chance to win, right? Got to keep Trevor Lawrence in the pocket. He's struggling a little bit this year, but sometimes he gets out, he'll flush out and get outside that pocket, and he can be dangerous there. And he's done that to the Colts for the past few years now. So, and not having Quiddy there, that's a little concerning to me, but we'll see if we can do that, because the weather could actually help. Looks wet, and, makes me worry a little bit about Matt Gay with his struggles, but I don't know. I'm optimistic. I think they can do it. It's going to be running back by committee. If Flacco looked good last week, our receivers are playing well. Our O-line's playing great. So I do think there's hey, it's the NFL. I mean, there's games. We went down to Jacksonville, I don't know how many times, to a horrible Jacksonville team and still lost. And it's happened vice versa too. It just happens. So you never know. But this is going to be a tough one this week. I'm going to remain optimistic, but we've got some work to do and limit the mistakes. And I think the other thing too is to stay on the field third down. Just try to get third manageable and stay on the field. We can't get back to the type of possession issues. And obviously, we're going to stop the run on defense. And they've done a better job. They are giving up a lot of total yards, though, which, I'm okay with as long as we're scoring more points. But that was the Peyton Manning years where he would put up 40 points and we could give up 400 yards on defense. It wouldn't matter. So that's the recap on the Colts. Like I said, I think this will be an ugly win this weekend, but I think they can pull it out. They just have to do some things right, make some field goals probably. Probably make some field goals. And just take care of the ball. It's just kind of simple stuff. So, all right. On that note, we're going to take our last breaks for the show, and our rest of it, we're going to talk college football, and especially we're going to give out you their love. First place, 5-0, Indiana football. Man, I just can't believe I'm saying it. It's awesome though. So good for them. So, all right, we will take the last break. We'll be back to you on the other side. Indy Sports Nation. IU Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We will be right back.
What's up, sports fans? You're listening to IU Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm your favorite West Coast Wisconsinite, Bernie Bango, and if you're a cheesehead, come listen to my show, Big Cheese Sports, where we road trip around America's Dairyland, previewing, reviewing, predicting, debating, and digging into all that is Wisconsin sports at the college and pro levels. Join me on IE Sports Radio, Sundays at 1 p.m. Central Standard. Bernie out.
What's good, fight fans? It's your boy, Marcus Los Great, here to give you what you want, here to give you what you need. Yeah, man. Yeah. I'm coming to you live, straight from your mama's basement with a crispy white tea. They're coming to you live every Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Sorry about the mute there. It's a little technical issue there, but welcome back, everybody. Indy Sports Nation right here, IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Well, let's get the hot garbage out of the way first. That is Boilermaker football. For those of you who watched last weekend, as I did, I am sorry. Actually, to be honest, the start wasn't as terrible as I had envisioned. I thought the front seven actually were okay. The problem is our secondary doesn't know how to cover, a chair. I mean, it was just like someone just turned their head the ball. I think they just got flagged again for pass interference, as a matter of fact. The only saving grace, the reason this was only a 28-10 loss, is because Nebraska was penalized a ton too. I think there were like 25 penalties. It was just dumb. Just dumb. 46 rushing yards with about 6 minutes to go in the game for Purdue. Nebraska added about 100 to that. No, I mean, Nebraska's a better team than they have been. I mean, I think Matt Rule's going to do well there, but Hudson Card, I don't know what happened. Quarterback for Purdue, I just don't know. I watched him times last year, and listen, he didn't wow me by any stretch of the imagination, but I saw some bright spots. I can see some talent with the kid, and my word, he is just like, I got to keep these PG, people. Got to keep the show PG here, but cheeks, man, not these either. There's third straight game, pick six. This one's right at the end of the game. You throw it right to the guy. There was no one there. But it's bad. It's complete hot garbage there right now. They so you may have heard some of the news that came out of West Lafayette is the firing of Graham Harrell, the offensive coordinator. And with that, they also lost two commitments. And a 4-star quarterback out of California, and Oscar Rios, and then a wide receiver here out of Indiana, up in the region, as we call it. Getting a wide receiver from there. They both have decommitted as a result of the Graham Harrell firing, which, that happens in college sports, right? You build a relationship with the coach, and then they're not there, and, well, this is why I came. So, I mean, that's part of it. That does happen. But, man, it's just not – things were just not good there, man. Jason Simmons, the new OC, no pressure. Dude's barely coached football. Like he was He was at running backs coach last year at Miami of Ohio. And come over here as an analyst and, oh, by the way, guess what? Here's the playbook. It's on you, buddy. They're on the road this week, Wisconsin. I believe last I checked, Wisconsin, I believe, is a 12, 13-point favorite. Take the Badgers. I'm sorry. I mentioned it in last week's show. I just did not think – I didn't think they're going to win any more games than they did last year because their schedule is brutal. They still have, off the top of my head, they got Oregon coming. They got Oregon coming here. I believe they have Ohio State on the schedule still. They've got Penn State. But they're supposed to play IU at the end of the season, the open bucket game. The only shot I think on this schedule right now is Northwestern. And right now, Northwestern's defense actually isn't half bad. We'll get in that in a minute when we get to IU, but I'm sorry, Boiler fans. But here's the good news for you Boiler fans. I think you diehard Boiler fans know what this is going to be. Your volleyball team is crushing it. Y'all, I'm saying, man, Purdue fans, I know it's hard to watch your football team right now. I'm old school. I'd say try to support them where you can, but I get it. It's like it's time, it's resources, whatever. I'm seeing a not good product. Your volleyball team is ranked number 10 and have had 112 straight weeks ranked. Raven Colvin plays in the middle for Purdue. Just in last week's match, 19 kills, 7 aces, and 4 total blocks. And a big win at Minnesota. So it's ranked 16th. Big road win. They're playing tonight at Northwestern. So we'll say this: give them some love. It's something entertaining to watch. These ladies are out there just balling. Give them some love. So, on that note, we're going to move on. Talk a little Notre Dame. I don't know if you watched that game. That actually was a pretty entertaining game to watch, my opinion. Although it could not have been more of a disastrous start for the Irish. I mean, you saw it, you know what I'm talking about. They get the ball, or receive the ball first, right? Fumble the kickoff. Fumble the kickoff. 2 plays later, Louisville's in the end zone. Mike, well, typical Irish. Here we go. Then they got it going. They really got it going. Riley Leonard much better. And that offense and offensive line really just started pushing Louisville around. Tie up 7-7 really fast. 14-7. 21-7. So I'm like, all right, Notre Dame, they've settled in. That botch was fine. It happens. Whatever. Notre Dame's rolling. Get the ball back, and they're moving again. Fumble. Louisville recovers. 4 plays later, end zone. Instead of 28-7, which is probably what it should have been, 21-14. You kept the 15th ranked Louisville Cardinals around when you could have just dog walked them out of South Bend. Now, still, you went to the second half. You knew it was going to make their adjustments, and they did, which was great. And a few lucky plays there, some penalties kind of went their way. And like I said, held on for a late Louisville comeback, 31-24. But to me, the way that game was going, that and this silly play, that should have been a much, much bigger win. They get to sit on that for a little bit, though. They got a bye week. So they'll and also in recruiting news, Deuce Knight, who was committed to Notre Dame, has now decommitted, and he's now going to Auburn, which I actually think is probably okay. He'll be able to play at Auburn pretty quick, I think. I think Notre Dame, he'd have to wait a little bit, so I can see why he did that. But Notre Dame gets a break. Their schedule is still very, very favorable. I still see them racking up some wins until they maybe see USC. But we'll talk more about them on their preview them next week. Only got about 10 minutes, so I got to spin this. talking about your Hoosiers. Gotta go Hoosiers. You're 5-0. Signetti led Indiana Hoosiers. So that was it was funny because that game was on at the same time as the Bullers game on. So I had a little simulcast going here, if you will. Get to the banner here in just a sec. And even then, I actually was listening to the Maryland broadcast with it. And it's bad when you're sitting there hearing the other team going, they just dog walked us. And they did. I mean, you see that score 42-28. Which team do you think had 4 turnovers? I mean, you would initially think it would be, whoever got outscored definitely had the most turnovers. No, IU had 4 turnovers. But what you don't want to see that again, obviously. It's funny. I was praising Rourke's quarterback play there, and then all of a sudden, the next thing I know, I'm listening to the game, he threw 2 picks. I'm like, I guess I jinxed him, so I won't say anything. I won't say anything. But no, I just thought really that O-line, especially, Maryland had no response for that. And give credit to the IU defense as well, just simply for the fact, they gave up some yards or whatnot, but when they had to make a stop, they did. And that's what you want. So kudos to Coach Sig. It's great IU program. They're fun to watch. They're just fun to watch. I talked to my Purdue people, and they're like, "Hey, you know what? We don't really like IU. We'll never like IU, but let them have one." Like, it's just too much fun. So this week we go. IU goes into the Windy City, play Northwestern on their temporary football field. There's been some calling in on the, how that field actually is. Find out. I've not watched enough Northwestern football, so I can't really say, but I've seen, who they've played, and they're not racking up a lot of points, but their front seven seems pretty decent. I believe are ranked 4th in the Big Ten, if I'm not mistaken. So I think from a front seven standpoint, this might be one of the better defenses that IU's come across, we'll see. Weather. I checked weather. I don't think that's going to be an issue. It looks like it's supposed to be about 78 and sunny up there, so I don't see any crazy Lake Michigan weather happening. I mean, it always could. If you know Lake Michigan, it can turn on a dime. So I don't foresee that. Another thing that's come up is this a trap game? I don't think so. And I get why people would say that. I get why, especially IU fans would say that, right? I mean, this is just crazy for IU football fans. This isn't. I'm sorry, but it's just not the norm. We'll see everybody. Speaking of which, see if I hit the comment here. I had my buddy Charlie's up at Purdue. I started talking to IU. He goes, and I'm out of here. Gotta love that. Friendly banter. That's good. It's good. But no, I do not see this as a trap game. Here's why. Indiana sucks. Love it. They have a bye week coming up. All right. So, and if you know Signetti, if you followed him at time at JMU, he got burnt by that when they cracked to the top 25, and then all of a sudden, there goes JMU. So I don't think Sig's going to allow that to happen again. And of course, he's got a couple JMU transfers that are currently playing at IU, and so they've experienced that. So I don't see this. I think they'll be very, very focused. Could I see Northwestern hanging early? Potentially. I mean, I said they have a pretty decent front seven there. I think their secondary is a little bit. That's where I think IU and their explosive offense can really exploit that. I really, really do. So we will see. We will see what happens there. But I'm telling you what, man, they take care of business, and I think they will. And they get the bye week. Then you have Nebraska coming in, and I've told you before, I don't love looking ahead too much. I mean, we do it as fans because it's fun and it gets good chatter or whatnot. If that's not, I mean, that very well is a primetime game. I was just, looking, obviously they haven't announced times for that for a couple weeks ahead yet. But assuming Nebraska takes care of business against Rutgers, I believe that game's in Nebraska, I think. And Rutgers is, whatever, they are who they are, but and they're not terrible, but sometimes they'll sneak up on you. But assuming Nebraska handles business, you're going to have a 5-1 Nebraska team coming into a 6-0, Indiana team in Bloomington. So I got people in Bloomington, man. And I'm telling you right now, if that's the case, especially if it's prime time and you're not there, I am coming down personally and I am dragging you there. No, there'd be no excuse if that's the case. There'd be no excuse anyway, to be honest with you, whether it's a 3:30 game or a 7:30 game or whatever. Your team's in the top 25. You're 5-0. There's no excuse. I mean, I mentioned that last week, and credit to the IU faithful. They showed up. I did see a few empties, but I also kept in mind, as I said last week, weather. So I was like, you get a little bit of a pass, or we're still some remnants of the hurricane. And again, touched on that last week. Check on your people. Hope everybody is, anybody there, I hope they're safe, and I just hope everything shakes out. Was just awful. You've all seen pictures. It's awful, but still, shout out to IU students. I know Sig sent out notes prior to the game, sent emails out after the game. Get there, and then of course afterwards thanking them for being there. So, you all got to be excited. I'm excited for you. It's got another comment here. Gotta love when you play so bad, your prospects decommit. Yeah. Sorry, Purdue. Speaking of which, there's one little bit of news that did come out of IU this week. Donovan McCulley, wide receiver, who made all Big Ten honorable mention last year, has entered the transfer portal. McCulley's a local Indiana kid or Indianapolis kid. Him and Omar Cooper Jr., who's still with IU, are teammates at Lawrence North High School, and McCulley was a quarterback here. He was a 4-star recruit, and who made the switch to wide receiver. But yeah, he has entered the portal. He'll have 1 year of eligibility left. He fell down the depth chart at IU, unfortunately. I don't know what happened there with him and Sig. I know that Sig challenged him early on, and in spring, or after Sig came here, I should say. And so I don't know if there was something there that were button heads or what it may be, but he fell down the depth chart, and he's going in the portal. I think he's one last shot at it for him, right? And I get it. He probably wasn't going to see the field a whole lot, even though he did get a touchdown last weekend. But he's not really been targeted. I think he's only been targeted a handful of times all season. He was out one game with an injury, but so hopefully it all works out for him. But in the meantime, by the way, we're getting close to wrapping up the show here. I wanted to share with you, again, thanks for all the comments. Appreciated all the tweets and texts and everything else. Thank you so much again for listening. Thank you for supporting me on this ride and whatnot. It's been a lot of fun, and we'll just keep getting better and better each week. The answer, so as I mentioned before, 1967, as you've all heard in the news, and when I was last time, Indiana Hoosier football team was 5-0, and like I said, most of you probably were not alive. I know I wasn't. The year before that, the last time they were started off that good was 1910. I don't think my grandfather was even born then. My word, 1910. So for those of you who may not know much about a bunch about IU football, think about that for a minute. So that's why I'm happy for him, man. I mean, I've always said last week I do lean little Purdue, but I want both teams to do well. I'm not that big of a hater when it comes to that, but anyway, on that note, hey, listen, thank you all so much for joining. Appreciate it. Episode 2 in the books. Appreciate all your comments. Appreciate all the support. And got to do this one more time, right? Let's end the curse. Come on, Colts, you got to do this. End the stupid curse. I'm over it. Big Mike, BD Sports Nation, IU Sports Radio, direct feed for sports. See ya.